Hey, this is Rich from HouseBarons.com. My brother Dave and I renovate houses along with Dave's son Caleb. Today we want to show you how to set up an indoor grow room so you can grow food for you and your family. If you're new to our channel, consider subscribing because we want to show you how to do a job yourself so you can save a ton of money. Right, Claire? So as I mentioned, we're putting this video on our channel because we hope it helps you consider these times and that everybody needs to have a food source because the grocery stores may or may not be open. That's just the reality of the world that we're heading into. We hope this gives you some ideas about starting an indoor grow room wherever you live, and you can make it as big or as small as you want. I mean, it could just be one shelf with, 3 trays on it. And that will still supply a good amount of food. I mean, each microgreen serving is about an ounce, and that's all you need. And you'll be able to eat delicious, healthy food. There's a lot of satisfaction in growing it yourself. And another added benefit is I know this food that I'm growing, it has no fertilizer. It's got no pesticide. I'm using organic soil. I'm using organic seed. So this stuff's about as healthy as it gets. So the food that I'm talking about growing are called microgreens. And here are a bunch of microgreens right now. This is basil, and that one's kale. This is cilantro, and these are sunflower. These are broccoli. This is called Rambo radish. There's more cilantro and basil back there. This is baby basil and more broccoli. And this one is kale. And then down here we've got more kale, and this one, there's 2 kinds of peas here. This one is called speckled peas, and the ones back there are called dun peas. Oh, and then over on this rack, we're growing tomatoes, and we've got a ton of those started. And this guy here we call the General because he's grown so much bigger than everyone else. And then we're growing spinach in these little trays here. Basically, a microgreen is a baby vegetable. And scientific research shows that these baby microgreens, these baby vegetables, have 4 to 40 times the nutritional value of an adult vegetable. And so they're packed with nutrients because they need all that nutrition in order to grow into the adult vegetable. So the idea is you harvest them while they're still quite young, and you will get an amazing amount of nutritional value. And so these nutrients include antioxidants and minerals and vitamins. So they're wonderful to eat. They taste great, and they're very healthy. For me personally, I like to mix a number of them together and make what I call a power salad. So I would put like 2 varieties of peas and sunflower, and then maybe add in an avocado, mix all that together, put some vinaigrette dressing on it, and you eat that for a while and you feel really quite healthy. So that's something you can do with it, but you can also put microgreens on a sandwich. You can put them on pasta. Basically, the possibilities are unlimited of what you can do with them. Now, the idea of this setup is that it's indoors and we have it in a closed room so that we can control as many of the variables as possible. And I can almost guarantee that I'm going to come up with something that looks like that. It's just about perfect. So what we're able to do is we can control the soil. We can use wonderful organic soil, and we're putting those into trays. This is a 10 by 10 tray, 10 inches by 10 inches. This is a 10 by 20 tray. I like to use the 10 by 10s. They're just a lot easier to work with. But anyway, the idea is you're going to put your organic soil into that tray, and then you'll add your seed and you'll water it, and then you'll cover it up like this. And actually you put weight on it to press the seeds down. And also the seeds will then have to push up with all their might to grow. And it makes them very big and healthy. So this is called germinating. It goes from the seed form into the plant. And right there, that broccoli is just 2 or 3 days old and it's just starting to germinate. So once it pops up, then, and at this point we're watering it with a mister. We're just making sure that it's damp. And then after it germinates, it goes over under these lights where it will grow until we harvest it. And the whole process can take, some of them 7 days, some take 10 days, and then there's some real slow growers like cilantro that takes several weeks. All right, so we're controlling the soil by buying good organic soil. We're controlling the amount of water it gets by using the mister at first, just a spray bottle, until the seeds germinate. And then once they germinate, with these trays, they're really cool because, so I basically have a double tray here. I've got this tray, you can see its root system there. It's got little holes in it. And so that enables me then to take a cup of water and then I'll just pour it into this bottom tray and the roots will soak up the water. So basically you're top watering at the beginning, and then once the plants germinate, then you bottom water by just pouring it into this tray. So we're controlling the soil, we're controlling the amount of water it gets. We're also controlling the amount of light that it gets. Because we're growing commercially, we purchased a bunch of amazing LED lights. These are the Sunblaster T5s, and they look like this. All right, so the LED lights are not cheap. So they run $40 to $50 each. And as you can see, you need 2 of them to complete one shelf. And then one shelf is gonna hold 3 10 by 20 trays or 6 10 by 10 trays. So now here are your options with lighting. You can use pretty much anything, like any kind of light's gonna work. You know, you could just use old fluorescent lights and they'll be fine, but the issue is that it's gonna cost more in electricity. So the option we went with, because we're in a commercial endeavor, is we spend our money up front buying LED lights, but now even with all these lights going, our electric bill has barely been affected. So anyway, that's something that you can decide for yourself if you want to go with the expensive LED lights to save on electricity, or you just want to use some cheap fluorescent light from the hardware store that won't cost much up front, but it will cost more in electric usage. Okay, it's also really important to control the temperature. And so you'll have to buy a thermometer. Right now in this room, it's 66 degrees. Ideally, we want to keep it around 70, but I mean 66 is fine. So you can control your temperature, obviously, with your air conditioner and your furnace, but there's a couple of other things you need to do. It's great to put it in a room like this because then I can open and close the window. Believe it or not, opening and closing the window just a few inches will make a huge difference in the temperature in the room. Another way that we can control the temperature is with the fan. That also helps to cool the room by when the window's open, we're forcing the warm air out the window. And we also want to control the humidity. The humidity can be affected by the fan and the window being open or closed. But in addition, you'll need to buy a dehumidifier because all these plants together are going to create so much humidity, you've got to get that moisture out of the air, and it will be collected by your dehumidifier. And this is ours right here. That's where the water gets collected. So it's off now, but there it just kicked on. Okay, so ideally you want the humidity in the room to be around 38%. And you could see mine was up to 58 to 60. And that was because I've had the dehumidifier off for a while because I was making the video. But once that's running again, it'll bring the humidity back down where we want it to be. Another item you could buy, especially if you're doing something like tomatoes and you want to get them started and growing really fast, is a heat mat. And so this is our heat mat right there. And just plug it in and it will warm up about, I think it's like 10 or 12 degrees warmer than the room. And it lets the seeds germinate quicker and all the plants will grow faster. And then once they start growing, you move them over under all the lights. All right, so I just want to show you the basic setup here. First off, you gotta, have a nice shelving unit. And we made a video previously about this exact shelving unit. It's only like $50 or something like that. Believe it or not, it holds 1,000 pounds and it's very easy to assemble. So we'll put a link to that video right there. And then, as I mentioned before, you're gonna have to get a fan and a dehumidifier and put everything in a closed room so that you can gauge the temperature. It's best to be in a room where you have a window that you can open and close. And then I'll just show you how our lights work. These are really cool because they're daisy chained together. So in other words, I only have, like, both of those are being operated off one outlet. So those are really cool and they're super easy to set up. What I've done is I use these zip ties. And what's interesting with a zip tie, if you flip it around backwards, then it doesn't actually lock and you can adjust the height of it. It'll still hold pretty firmly wherever you set it, but you can actually slide it up and down and you can change the elevation. And why that's handy is, as you can see here, when we first put these peas here, they were only this tall, but just a few days later, they're all the way up to here. So then, you might want to adjust your lights higher as they grow. Same deal with the tomatoes, because, at first they start out really small, but then they get really big. I'll put links in the description below to all of the equipment that you've seen. We are Amazon affiliates. We do receive a small commission from qualified purchases. And so when you use our links, it helps feed our 4 dogs and our 4 goats, and we definitely appreciate it. And I'll also put links to, there's a lot of really great videos on YouTube about how to grow microgreens. And so I'll put links to some of the channels that I've learned a lot from in the description below. So we hope this video will inspire you to at least begin researching setting up a grow room wherever you live. That way, no matter what's happening in this world, you'll at least have a food source. You have healthy, tasty food for you and your family. If you got anything out of the video, if you could hit the like button, that helps out our channel. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because we have a ton of home improvement videos on the way. Thanks much for viewing. Stay safe, and we'll see you in this video.